listening to your brain on air. The program will begin shortly. Enjoy.
您正在收听的是大脑之声广播节目，节目即将开始，敬请欣赏。
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Your Brain on Air. I am your host, Ollie Vogt Larson, and welcome to Wisdom Wednesday. Folks, Wisdom Wednesday is maybe my favorite day of the week, besides maybe Freedom Friday. Freedom Friday, I don't know why I called it Freedom Friday. Sometimes it's Funny Friday. We theme our days here. But folks, Wisdom Wednesday, I'm going to share some wisdom with you. Have you ever tried dancing for your landlord when your rent is due? I've tested it. The worst thing that they can do is pin the pink slip back up on the door again. Have you ever noticed that it's only the ugly kids who shoot up schools? Remember when Minnesota felt like flannel lakes and wild rice soup? Now it feels like getting robbed, wet weather, and too many mosquitoes. Also people that aren't really that nice, honestly. They're just kind of passive-aggressive. I disappear after too many beers, call me Nancy Guthrie. I slay harder with no rehab, call me Nick Reiner. And I got this set of stories for y'all hot and fresh out the kitchen, call me R. Kelly. Folks, I am moving like Walter Cronkite. I am on a generational run. Don't stop me now because I'm having a good time. Call me AIDS face. Folks, I just want to get right into the agenda for the week. Because, folks, if you don't know, the agenda is socialist. Folks, the socialist agenda. I'm, quite frankly, just a supporter of capitalism. I'm not a capitalist because, quite frankly, I don't have very much capital. That's just kind of true. I just don't have very much to call myself a capitalist. If I pause here and there, apologize. I really apologize because I have a cup of coffee that's keeping me going. Folks, I'm not a person who generally beats the drums and says, oh, the communists are coming to take over tomorrow. But I will admit that I'm one of the many people where the victory of Zora Mamdani in the general elections for the mayor of New York, it alarmed me because I saw, generally speaking, I saw three candidates up on that stage. I don't know how much you followed that mayoral election. I'll run you through it briefly if you don't have the rundown. There was Andrew Cuomo. Obviously, people have a history with him. I never loved him during COVID. He wrote a book about how well he handled it while people were dying in old folks' homes. Curtis Sliwa, quite frankly, should have won. I know he was the Republican candidate. I liked a lot of the facts that... I love his background. If you don't know anything about the Angels that defended New York, they are red beret wearing sweeties. They are all around they fight people on subways because it was such a slum, if you don't know New York back in the days. And then he formulated this group, ground roots movement. Here it is, the Guardian Angels. In 1979, an unarmed volunteer crime prevention organization famous for patrolling the New York City subways in red berets and jackets. Originally named the Magnificent 13 or the Rock Brigade, based on McDonald's, they quickly became known for fighting crime. These guys, this is Batman but real, and Curtis Sliwa gave the energy of Batman but real. And listen... in a world of performative activism, in a world of like, hey, I'm gonna, donate however much this is to this place. He was not willing to put on that act. He was willing to go, hey, I'm in favor of people pulling themselves up by their bootstraps. I'm not signing big programs. And to prove how much he believed in this, I played this on the show back when we were covering the election, a video of him walking up to this black lady who's just disheveled. She's wearing, obviously, a top. It's the middle of November, so it's very obvious like she's wearing too little for the weather, but so she's hiding in the subways really to avoid the cold up on the surface. So he finds this lady. He's like, hey, girl, you want a euro? And then he buys her like a euro and like a soda. I don't know if maybe it was like a Taylor ham and egg. No, that's a Taylor ham and egg is what's it called? A New Jersey thing. But he buys her this euro. He hands it to her and he's like, all right, you're going to get a job. And then she goes, yeah, while she's eating, yeah, I'm gonna get a job and shit. And then he goes like, good for you. I'll blur your face and everything. Can I shake your hand? And then that was a beautiful campaign ad. Quite frankly, it was the most moving thing that was ever produced from that election. Folks, I would have supported Curtis Sliwa all the way. Sadly enough, he didn't get the support. He didn't get the movement that he needed. He only got and admittedly, New York City, if you don't know, is like, I believe the ratio last they checked was there's 7 Democrats for every 1 Republican. The proportions are mad off. So inadvertently, Zora Mamdani's image of democratic socialism, a term that is appealing on the surface once you peel back certain layers of it, too socialized of programs, too socialized of workforces, too socialized people who don't believe in like the right to personal property, private property. There are people in his administration currently. The housing woman that we've covered, C. Weaver, she has repeatedly said that what she dreams is that the housing system entirely is owned by a collective. You don't have a right to anything. It's everything is collectively owned. It's communism. It's socialism inadvertently, and many people don't realize this. Socialism without capitalism will become communism. Socialism with no boundaries on the money, it will eventually run itself into the ground. You saw this with the USSR. And I know people will say, oh yeah, in Venezuela, you see it in many other countries where it's been tried, tested, and failed. And Zohran Mamdani, unfortunately, has been indoctrinated into, I don't know if he fully has. Admittedly, he appears to me to be a charlatan. I love that word because I watched Princess and the Frog recently, and that one guy, the fat guy who is the assistant to Prince Naveen, he's like carrying his bags for him, and then he goes, they're getting led into the alleyway, and then he's like, this guy just read my palm, and then he goes, oh, this morning's newspaper, and then he goes, I believe this man to be a charlatan. I suggest we, whatever. He's like telling him to head out, and he's like, don't you disrespect me, little man. I love that, and that's like the start to one of the greatest songs in that movie, but inadvertently, Princess and the Frog has a generational run of songs for Disney movies-wise. Listen, the last real 2D movie that they ever made was probably their best one that they've ever made. I'm sorry to say it. Princess and the Frog is a masterpiece. I don't know if it's just the atmosphere, the fact that every song hits, the fact that swing music is just so good, the fact that jazz and whatnot, the soul that it bleeds. I'm off on a path, I'm off on a tangent, I shouldn't be bringing this up. Anyway, Zohran Mamdani ended up winning because his image of democratic socialism sold the most to people. And unfortunately for them, they are now living in a world of reality, and it's starting to bite them in the ass. So we're going to cover that right now. Go! Zohran Mamdani Rami Lami, he's threatening a 9.5% property tax increase to fill the NYC budget gap. Folks, it turns out that free things are not free, and that the class president cannot deliver on snow days every day. I was worried about this from the start. Thankfully enough, I don't live in this city. They're going to trash it. They will ruin the city. They will take it down. But, you know, this is like if Caitlyn Jenner were to become governor of California. I still supported her. I still was like, hey, like, we haven't had a trans governor. Let's do it. And in the most progressive state, banger, they haven't had a woman governor yet. Minnesota is definitely going to have a woman governor because we have Lisa Damon in the current lead for the Republican nomination, and then Amy Klobuchar as the Democratic nominee. So we're definitely probably going to have a first female governor of Minnesota. Look how progressive we're getting. Before California, we should be proud of ourselves. Folks, I looked at the results of this election, and I knew that he was not going to be able to deliver on his bull honky promise. I'll censor myself. Bull honky promise that he was going to be able to freeze rent. If you don't know anything about municipal tax codes, if you don't know anything about the law, quite frankly, I'd understand if this sounds appealing to you. Then, obviously, reality hit. He got into office. He was inaugurated after that beautiful moment, where people were like, we have defeated a generational institution of oppression. And then he promised institutional change instantaneously. And once they introduced him to the desk, once they showed him the papers, he immediately went, Allah, we are going to need a little bit more than, prayers every 5 hours, is it? I forget the amount of times. But it is 5 prayers a day, I think. Or I'm thinking of Judaism. Excuse me, folks. It's coffee. You know what I mean? I'm trying to balance a lot of stories on my head right now. All my facts are not going to be 100% straight. All right, let's review this footage.
There are 2 paths to bridge this gap. And if we do not go down the first path, the city will be forced down a second, more harmful path.
A second. This is Bane. Have you guys seen The Dark Knight Rises, where he says, like, I am giving it back to you, the people. I am giving Gotham is yours. This is him. He's like, the second path will be absolute chaos.
Donnie says the more painful path would involve raising the city's property tax rate by 9.5%. That's the only tax the city has the power to raise without permission from Albany. That would generate $3.7 billion in revenue. But without reform, the increase would impact all homeowners at all income levels. Some say disproportionately hurting homeowners of color.
The foreclosure crisis always peaked in
Isn't that
so without it,
isn't that the goofiest part is that it's affecting the group that ultimately voted for him the most. Is that, like, unfortunately, it's people that are marginalized. They are like, hey, I need to vote for somebody who's promising me. They're like, hey, we're gonna tax the rich. We're gonna fuck everybody up in a certain tax bracket. Ultimately, it's gonna result in everybody getting hurt because you got to raise taxes on everybody.
You're pushing people out of their homes.
The mayor also plans to drain city reserve funds to close the budget deficit, which he estimates at $5.4 billion. And it's not even clear he would get the necessary approval from the city council. Speaker Julie Menon today saying dipping into rainy day reserves and proposing significant property tax increases should not be on the table whatsoever. Mamdani warning of his last resort plans just one day after Governor Kathy Hochul announced she would bail the city out to the tune of another $1.5 billion.
Oh my God. Folks, this is all money. This is money coming from somewhere. This is coming from you if you live in New York. If you live in New York, of course. New York State, by the way, because they're going to bail out New York City with New York State money. What does that mean?
I'm not supportive of property tax increase. I don't know that that's necessary.
But it's false to think they're the only two choices. Dig into the agencies. Identify spending that is helping New Yorkers and keep it.
Oh, he's sweating so bad.
Helping New Yorkers and
this man has a Giuliani, as we like to call it on the show here, where it is a stream of sweat that runs down your face. It runs it's from probably like your sideburn, and it runs all the way down your cheek line, wherever, down to your neck. He has a famous Rudy Giuliani moment, which we've coined after the iconic moment where his hair dye famously ran down his face in the 2020 election.
Mamdani has dispatched savings officers to each city agency to search for savings, and they're due back with answers next month. He seemed to imply that budget...
He sent out his goons. He sent out his goons to go shake down everybody. He said, shake down everybody you can find. I want you to go and find every single small businesses, children's hospitals, anything that we can get our hands on. Shake every person down.
And efficiencies alone could not close the gap. How can you say that raising property taxes is necessary if your savings officers have not yet completed the process of looking through these various agencies?
1.5% in this year, 2.5% in next year. And so these are the most aggressive savings that we can pursue without inhibiting the functioning of city government.
Wowie wow. Folks, I mean, totaling a record, $127 billion, man. That's the budget. He's warning that he's warning about a nearly 10% increase, which 9.5%, that's nearly 10% increase of taxes could be on the table for property, specifically a 9.5% hike if the state doesn't step in with a new tax on its wealthiest residents and corporations. Mamdani described this property tax option as a last resort and a more harmful path, one he'd rather avoid, that he's going to ultimately have to take. He's going to take it. He's going to take it because Gotham is yours, ladies and gentlemen. We have to remember that he's doing this. He's doing this because a certain group of people wanted him to give the city back to him. Let's review footage of this speech. Actually, here we go.
Oppressors of generations who have kept you down with myths of opportunity, and we give it back to you.
To you,
The people.
the people.
Gotham is yours.
New York is
None
yours.
shall interfere. Do as you please.
Do as you please.
But start by storming Blackgate and freeing the oppressed.
Freeing the oppressed. This is when they're gonna storm ICE facilities. This is gonna be all the people that watched what's it called? One Battle After Another and got programmed. See, guys, this is what's going to happen. Oscar Sunday? Yes, Oscar Sunday. All the people that watched that one movie, One Battle After Another, they got that one movie about like radical people who are breaking people out of prisons and stuff. They are going to watch the Oscars and they are going to hear a phrase that activates them, and they are going to all suddenly it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be the start of the Civil War. This is a satirical show. We are joshing, obviously. Who was the director? Paul Paul Thomas Anderson. Paul Thomas Anderson. I do not think that he is a spy that is attempting to program every person that watched his movie to be sudden radicals, to break people out of ICE facilities. I don't think that that's the case. That is not absolutely, like, we're having fun here, folks. We're having fun. This is just I think I'm feeling the same way that every person in America is, honestly, a little bit, where it's just like we're having jokes because if we didn't joke, we would cry. You have to laugh, ultimately. We have to remember. You have to laugh, otherwise you will be upset. You will cry. If you cry and you never stop crying, and then because you will never stop crying. There's too much horrific shit in this world. You will never stop crying if you start. So you have to laugh. That's what we always say on this show. I want you all to remember this. No matter what happens to your major city, I know Minnesota, you're nervous. You're really nervous about Minneapolis. Quite frankly, there's a lot of other really nice cities. I'm not going to tell you my favorites. Well, actually, I'll give you a list of a couple to throw you off the scent. Grand Forks is not that bad, you know what I mean? If you like to live in those areas. St. Cloud, never mind. Someone's daughter just got murdered. He was running for governor and he had to drop out. Otherwise, it was a pretty decent city, without that situation. I will say, maybe, what is that one? Edina. That's the one that everybody mentions that no one has ever been to. Very, very fun. I don't know. If you're nervous about your major city, I know that, if you're in Omaha, if you're in Texas, no matter where you live in the country, your major cities, they're probably having a hissy fit. I know that I go down any main street of my major city, and there's people with signs, there's people making their opinion known, and that's chill, you know what I mean? It's the American spirit. I don't expect that I'll see them after a major snowstorm is hit, you know what I mean? That's not fun. That is on its way. I don't understand this weather that we're getting served where it'll be kind of gloomy, there's puddles everywhere, it's rainy and shit, and then suddenly we get a blanket of snow again. I mean, global warming, make up your mind, because I'd rather get London temperate. London temperate is the temperature that works for me, folks. Tell them to bring out the lobster. Tell them to bring out the lobster. Roses are red, violets are blue, folks. I think that we should move on to our next story because, as much as I love Mamdani Lani, I think that he will have success or he will fail. And whether or not he does, I think his reputation will be unscathed because if he fails, he'll be able to go, I was never given an opportunity. I was, people, they were always standing in my way because either they didn't like me or my policies, they didn't respect my background or something. He'll always have the ability to blame it on something else because he belongs to a majorly marginalized group. So that's his right. He can use that, but I don't know how long that'll work especially in an age that I feel is slowly moving away from identity politics as a whole. I don't know that it's going to die off. I just feel as though maybe we're coming back to an area where that's just a little less important to a lot of common sense thinking Americans. Maybe that's delusional thinking on my end. But folks, I just want to bring a little bit of light and positivity to the idea that maybe Zohran Mamdani will not ruin one of the greatest crowning jewels, quite frankly, of American cities. Folks, let's move on to our next story. Music. Rhode Island dad shows up to son's high school hockey game, kills his son, his wife, shoots in-laws, and then himself. And unfortunately, I don't want to say this, folks. I don't want to report this because it's gonna make people want to take away trans people's guns in general. Damn it, I just said it. Well, he was trans. Okay, anyways, shocking new details are emerging about the suspect in Monday's deadly shooting at a youth hockey game in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. What the fuck is this, Family Guy? I'm sorry, I shouldn't joke. Authorities have identified the shooter as 56-year-old Robert Dorgan. That is a goofy name. That is a bully name from Back to the Future. I like that. Who also went by the names Roberta Dorgan and Roberta Esposito. What? I like a little bit of that not southern, but like south of the border flair. Dorgan, who identified as transgender, had undergone gender reassignment surgery around 2020. what's it called? He opened fire inside the Dennis M. Lynch Arena, bad last name, Lynch, during his son's high school senior hockey night game. This is man. He killed 2 of his family members, his ex-wife Rhonda Dorgan and his adult son Aiden Dorgan, before fatally shooting himself. 3 others, including his former in-laws and family friend, were injured and remain in critical condition. Police have described the attack as targeted, stemming from a family dispute, not as a random act of violence. So, you know, whether or not you have to worry about a similar situation, I don't know. Do you have a mentally unstable family member? Many of us do. Many of us have a family member where, you know what I mean? Whether it's a cousin, whether it's uncle, whether it's your own siblings, you know what I mean? People have someone in their lives who makes them go, haha, you know, we hope to get a call from them. We hope to hear from them by the end of the week. We hope that they're around this year, you know what I mean? But they're off. They're off doing their own thing. And that's a lot of people, they have that sort of a thing. Like, you'll get a call from them, and it's like the first time you've gotten a call in maybe, I think, a year. You'll be like, holy shit, I haven't heard from them since last Christmas. It's like they've really like flown off the edge of the map. You know what I mean? There's people, I don't know, they disappear for a while, and maybe you know what they're up to because of Facebook, maybe you know what they're up to because of social media, maybe you don't even know, maybe they're like uploading on 4chan and you'll never know, maybe they're in the Utah desert trying to break into that one mine to find that one guy who they sealed in with cement after he got stuck down there. He's going into nutty, your partner or whoever's doing this is going into Nutty Putty Cave to try to find John Jones. It's crazy. You know, people do nutty shit. Court records and police records from as far back as 2020 paint a picture of a long-standing family conflict tied to Dorgan's gender transition. I mean, when daddy becomes mommy and you got 2 mommies in the house suddenly, and unfortunately you're dealing with the Bruce Jenner situation. You watch those edits on TikTok of Kris Jenner going like, I miss Bruce. Bruce died to me. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, it's a death. And Caitlyn, unfortunately, I use Caitlyn's pronouns because I'll call her, I'll call her governor, and you can take that up with me. But anyways, Kris, she's the genuine loss that she experienced by losing that one Olympian, that beautiful Olympian that she managed to make kids with. It's sad for her. She holds his jackets and she's like, it smells like him. It makes me cry. It's tragic, and people don't realize that, unfortunately, you know, you can live your life, you can make whatever choices you want to fulfill your destiny and live your life how you want to. But your family, in some instances, will miss certain parts of you, and they have their right to mourn. And maybe that's too boomer of me to say, but people do have a right to mourn. Anyways, in a divorce filing that year, his then wife Rhonda cited gender reassignment surgery and narcissistic personality disorder traits as the reason for the split. I mean, that's a pretty good reason. I mean, you can also get no fault divorce, so that's probably what they did. Though those specifics were later crossed out and replaced with irreconcilable differences. The marriage ended in 2021. Around the same time, Dorgan reported to police that his father-in-law had threatened violence and used a derogatory slang about transgender people, refusing to let Dorgan stay in the family home. Those charges, the fact that they're using the last name in this for every person is ridiculous. Those charges were eventually dropped years later by when Dorgan, then living in Florida, chose not to pursue them. Co-workers described Dorgan as having a volatile temper and mixed feelings about their transition. I mean, at that age, where they were 56, how many years ago? 2021. So you did it when you were like 50 years old, my guy. I mean, you were born in 1970. Jesus Christ. Like, that's you're unk. Not even unk. That's you're OG. You're literally OG. I'm sorry, that's just what it is. These revelations have come to light through court documents reviewed by local media outlets shortly after the shooting. Let's get a taste of some ABC News. There we go. By the way, if I was at this hockey game, it would still not be the worst hockey game I've ever attended. I had to be in pep band.
Chilling video here showing the moments a shooter opened fire at a high school ice hockey game in Rhode Island. Police now reviewing this footage showing the scramble to escape the gunfire. Tonight we're learning new details about the person behind the gun and the possible family dispute that may have led to this deadly shooting. Michelle Fisher, live in our newsroom with what investigators have just revealed. Michelle.
What do we got?
This was a senior night event with high school hockey players from all across the state of Rhode Island. Unfortunately, what started as a celebration ended in tragedy.
Damn.
Gunfire erupting at an ice rink in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. This video capturing the frantic moments as high school hockey players skate to safety, racing to escape the bullets.
Can you imagine having to skate? Like there's a shooting happening around you and you have to skate. You have to run into the barrier, the thing that they have to run into, and then they have to take off their skates and shit. Can you imagine having to take off your skates in order to escape a shooter? Imagine how silly. And the people who choose not to take them off, imagine they're just running out into the outdoors with their skates still on. It's a chaotic situation.
I thought it was balloons, but this kept going and it was actually gunshots. And after the gunshots, me and my teammates ran right to the locker room and we just bunkered up.
It happened around 2:30 Monday afternoon. Local and state law enforcement rushing to the Dennis Lynch Arena about 5 miles outside of Providence.
We have one shooter down. At the location, we have 5 injured.
The suspect entered the arena to watch the hockey game of a family member, and unfortunately, during that time, a shooting occurred. This was a targeted event. It looked like it was a family dispute, and there was one individual that was a family friend.
2 people were killed. 3 others were critically injured and are now fighting for their lives. Police tonight praising a bystander who intervened.
A good Samaritan stepped in and interjected in this scene, and that's probably...
That ain't a good Samaritan. That's a saintly Samaritan.
...what led to a swift end of this tragic event.
Police retrieved multiple firearms at the scene. The suspected shooter, who has now been identified, dying from a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
We have identified the person, the suspect, by a birth name. The birth name was Robert Dorgan. We have also learned...
I love that in America, we go, we're dead naming you first. I like that. I like that in Canada, they're like, we're going to refer to them by their preferred pronouns, but we're not going to hide the fact that they're transgender. We're just going to not talk about it first. But here in America, we're going, this individual was born a man. That's important to note, folks. And then everybody starts leaning in to listen. And then they go, he went to she, and then everybody starts writing on their notepads.
The person does go by the name of Roberta, also uses the last name of Esposito.
The shooter
Esposito.
had no prior interactions with him. A motive still unclear.
If my man is not even a little bit brown, I'm gonna giggle at the Esposito name change.
This woman says the shooter was her father.
What was the reasoning? Was there a family argument?
He has mental health issues.
Oh.
He's just very sick. If
He's
have
very
someone
sick.
You think is sick? Trust your gut.
Trust your gut. If you think that someone is really sick and they need help, yeah, I would say also trust your gut. Give us the rundown, this one lady.
Police say this Rhode Island dad showed up to his own son's high school hockey game, killed his son, killed his ex-wife, and shot his in-laws before he killed himself. And he identified as transgender. Police say the shooter was Robert Dorgan, but he went by Roberta because he had transitioned. So back in
I'm so sorry. And I'm not being transphobic. I'm not. So you can't hold that against me. I said it. Folks, he looks like Mel Gibson in a washed out mermaid wig. And the hair texture is the most unique one I may have ever seen on a Caucasian brother.
20, he had gender reassignment surgery, according to court documents, goes in, gets that all done. His wife says, I can't take this anymore. I'm filing for divorce. And in the paperwork, she said it was because of his transitioning and also his personality problems. So now, Roberta's social media posts are under investigation.
Can I just say also, the social media posts that they're showing, she's not the ugliest girl I've ever seen on Facebook. I've seen some okay, and if you've ever gone to a medium high school or anything like that, you've seen some people's moms, you've seen some people's grandmas, you've seen some people their Facebooks are atrocious in some instances. They don't know how to hold a phone. They don't know how to hold a phone to save their lives. It's horrible framing. They have these just no ability to do makeup, no concern for how their chin looks. It's very just, I'm sorry. He at least knows how to frame his face next to this river.
And I'll show you why. So just hours before the shooting, Roberta is online posting all these things on X. sticking up for trans Congress member Sarah McBride, telling people to back off. In one post writing this in part, don't be so hurt over somebody different, then wonder why trans people go effing berserk.
What?
So more information will come out as they continue to dig in here out in Rhode Island, but
one thing,
we know
what?
for sure is that this was a targeted shooting.
Absolutely. We do know that. So don't worry, guys. He will not be well, first of all, he's dead. So you don't have to worry about him showing up at your school, but just in case you were nervous, he did it.
A crazed shooter armed with multiple guns who posted online threats to, quote, go berserk, and whose own reported daughter claims had, quote, mental health issues and was very sick. Who was Robert Dorgan, the trans father who fatally opened fire during a Rhode Island high school hockey game? Chaos erupted during a hockey tournament at Lynch Arena in Pawtucket, Rhode Island on February 16th, when gunshots rang out from the stands around 2:30 p.m., causing families and players to scramble for safety. Harrowing live-stream video captured the unfolding chaos as clumps of spectators sprinted to the exit as approximately 11 gunshots were fired from the stands.
Jeez.
Many players on the bench pushed to squeeze out of the box, with some ditching their skates in the process. Others vaulted over the barrier surrounding the rink and headed straight for the locker room. 2 people were killed during the heinous massacre, and 3 others were critically injured in what police described as a targeted family dispute. The shooter was later identified as Robert Dorgan, a 56-year-old father whose son was a North Providence high school senior that was competing in the hockey tournament.
Dang.
Dorgan, who was trans and went by the female alias Roberta Esposito, died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound at the scene. Officials said Dorgan fatally shot one of his own sons and the boy's mother. According to a GoFundMe page, Dorgan's 23-year-old son Aiden and his ex-wife Rhonda were confirmed as the victims who were killed.
Damn.
Investigators are also still probing a motive for the bloodshed, but court documents show that the father's transgender identity appeared to be a source of multiple family court battles in the years prior.
He's got like this real Kesha look to all of his photos. He's got this skanky little top on with these really high up shorts and whatnot. I'm sorry, it's not appealing. It doesn't look good on him. I'm sure it would look good on someone else's mom. But I will say this: I've seen moms that look kind of like this that have shown up to pick up, back in the school days to pick up their friends. It's like, holy shit, I think your dad's here, and they go, that's my mom, and you go, I'm sorry.
According to filings obtained by WPRI, Dorgan's ex Rhonda filed for divorce from the crazed shooter back in 2020, citing his, quote, narcissistic and personality disorder traits and his gender reassignment surgery.
Jeez.
Rhonda later amended the reasoning for their split, which was finalized in 2021, blaming it on, quote, irreconcilable differences, which have caused the immediate breakdown of the marriage.
Damn.
Police believe Dorgan was intentionally targeting his own family when he opened fire in the stands and then killed himself. A woman spotted leaving the Pawtucket police station in the wake of the shooting identified herself as the gunman's daughter, confirming that her father had mental health issues.
My father was a shooter.
What happened?
He shot my family. He has
3 dead and 3 in critical condition. Very Freemasons moment. The 3 threes.
mental health issues.
3-3. 33.
He's sick. He's very sick.
The night before the bloodshed, the 56-year-old dad, who underwent gender reassignment surgery in 2020, also made an ominous post on X. In response to a post calling trans Democratic Representative Sarah McBride a man, Dorgan wrote, keep bashing us, but do not worry why we go berserk. Dorgan also posted a similar response to a post from conspiracy theorist Alex Jones.
You mean truth teller Alex Jones.
In other X posts, Dorgan offered his support for the Second Amendment and ICE and his disdain for abortion. Dorgan also appeared to be a Nazi sympathizer and had a history of spewing anti-Semitic and racist rhetoric on social media, making repeated...
Hold on a minute. What? Okay, I was about to say, what exactly did this man say that was anti-Semitic? Because if it was him criticizing Israel, that's not anti-Semitic. Because obviously it's New York Post, you don't know whether or not they'll label that as anti-Semitic. But then the first tweet they throw up is white power, WP, and then exclamation point.
References to white power and white pride worldwide in several post replies.
Jesus.
The day before his rampage at the hockey rink, Dorgan posted an anti-Asian slur as he replied to a video praising Adolf Hitler. One photo posted online even showed Dorgan brandishing a large SS symbol tattoo on his right arm, a reference to Hitler's secret police force. Pawtucket Police Chief Tina Goncalves praised a good Samaritan who she said stepped in and attempted to subdue Dorgan.
Hell
Witnesses
yeah.
said the man, the father of another hockey player, disarmed Dorgan, but he had a backup firearm, both of which police retrieved at the scene.
Fuck, man. Very, very, very tragic. We don't love to see this. Listen, we try to have fun on this show. This is not one that we love to have fun with. Listen, number-wise, statistics. What does it say about trans and non-binary identifying shooters? Within the last year, they've gotten a lot more attention, that's for sure. They've gotten, because, they've been doing it a little bit more, quite frankly. Is it my fault? I didn't do it. Folks, it's unfortunate, but what are you going to do? We're going to jump into our rapid fire section of today's headlines. That's what we're going to do. We're going to cover other stuff that we need to worry about, stuff that you need to know about in order to keep your media diet healthy. I can't dedicate 3 to 4 paragraphs to everything, though. So, there's a, continuing controversy over the Epstein files release. As we know, there's a major dispute that is intensifying over former Secretary Hillary Clinton's publicly urging the Trump administration to release millions of withheld files related to the Jeffrey Epstein case. Clinton and her husband are preparing to testify before Congress, accusing the DOJ of deliberately delaying disclosure. This dispute is also coming alongside other political flashpoints, including the resignation of DHS spokesperson and debates over ICE raids and ongoing federal court cases and criticism of racial policies. Folks, if you don't also know, there is a famous Hollywood mogul that is looking to sell his agency over the Epstein connections.
Fallout of the latest release of the Epstein files, Hollywood mogul Casey Wasserman is selling his sports marketing and talent agency after his suggestive emails with Epstein associate Ghislaine Maxwell were revealed.
Ghislaine?
Here's ABC's investigative reporter, Olivia
It's Ghislaine. It's Ghislaine.
Rubin.
Tonight, outrage over the Epstein files forcing a Hollywood heavyweight talent agent Casey Wasserman to sell his namesake firm following the release of his suggestive emails with longtime Epstein associate Ghislaine Maxwell. In a note to employees, Wasserman writing he had become a distraction for the agency, which represents thousands of celebrities, performers, and athletes. He revealed the sell-off is already underway, following the departure of Grammy Award-winning singer Chappelle and soccer legend Abby Wambach. Among those newly released messages, Wasserman, who flew on Epstein's plane in 2002 for a Clinton Foundation-led humanitarian delegation, writing to Maxwell in March 2003, I think of you all the time, so what do I have to do to see you in a tight leather outfit?
Oy.
Maxwell responding in April, offering to give him a massage that can, quote, drive a man wild.
What
Maxwell
the fuck?
was arrested in 2020 and is currently serving a 20-year prison sentence for conspiring with Epstein to sexually abuse minors. In a statement, Wasserman saying, I deeply regret my correspondence with Ghislaine Maxwell, which took place over 2 decades ago, long before...
I love that he throws that in. He's like, it took place over 2 decades ago, guys. Shut up.
Horrific crimes came to light. I never had a personal or business relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. I'm terribly sorry for having any association with either of them. Wasserman will, however, remain chairman of the 2028 Olympic Games in Los Angeles, despite calls for him to step down. The organizing committee saying they reviewed the relationship and determined Wasserman should continue in this role.
Why?
And Witt oversees more trouble brewing for the royal family. The UK police now says they are assessing whether to launch a full investigation into former Prince Andrew over allegations of misconduct while in public office.
Well,
Olivia Rubin for us tonight.
he is former prince, so I guess you could do that. You know what I mean? Former prince. Former prince, not as in Paisley Park, but former prince. Folks, Russia and Ukraine peace talks are still happening in Geneva. If you didn't know, U.S. brokered peace negotiations between the two countries have concluded without an agreement on key issues like territorial negotiation control and nuclear plant safety. Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky accused Russia of dragging out talks, and tensions also surfaced with EU neighbors. over energy supplies. In U.S. politics, the media censorship allegations and legal battles are brewing. The U.S. politics news was marked by accusations that CBS has capitulated to political pressure by pulling an interview involving a Senate candidate, prompting criticism of media censorship. Fascinating. Democrats have approved turmoil in U.S. political polling. Interesting. New AP NORC polling shows many Democrats remain unhappy with their party's direction and leadership, signaling potential internal changes and voter dissatisfaction ahead of future U.S. elections. Very, very, very not good, especially since they just expanded their map of how many districts they want to poll. In Peru's political leadership upended. Has been recently, Peru's Congress voted overwhelmingly to remove interim President Jose Gieri amid the Chifa-gate influence peddling scandal, deepening political instability in a country that's seen multiple presidents ousted in recent years. Very, very fun. It's fun when your leaders revolve every 4 years. You know what? Well, I don't know how often they've been doing it, but, you know, every 4 years seems to be working pretty good for us. Maybe if they get on a system like that. Bangladesh's new prime minister has also been sworn in. Tariq Rahman was sworn in Tariq Rahman, I'm going to use that, was sworn in as Bangladesh's prime minister. Interesting. February 18th after his party won a sweeping victory. Very, very, very fun. This is not very fun. Teen was arrested after rushing the U.S. Capitol with a loaded shotgun.
A serious scare on Capitol Hill. According to authorities, 18-year-old Carter Camacho was wearing tactical gear and carrying a loaded weapon when he rushed the west front of the Capitol.
We had a person exit that vehicle with a shotgun and begin running towards the Capitol.
Police say the teenager backed down when confronted by Capitol Police, but they found more ammunition, a Kevlar helmet, and a gas mask in his car. While the situation had the potential for tragedy, Capitol Police were prepared.
Just a few months ago, we had an active shooter exercise right here on the west front, virtually in the same spot.
Political violence is up across the board. In just the last year, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar was attacked at a town hall in Minnesota.
She was spritzed. That was barely an attack. It was pretty baller of her to run at him, you know.
Conservative political activist Charlie Kirk was assassinated at an event in Utah. In Minnesota, a state lawmaker and her husband were shot and killed in their home.
And I was in Minneapolis during that same time for a vacation. I wasn't there. They caught the guy, okay? Don't throw accusations my way. I just wanted to say that I was visiting George Floyd Square. It just so happened the day that it actually happened, the night I was sleeping very soundly in an Airbnb.
There have been 2 assassination attempts against President Trump. And last April, the governor's mansion in Pennsylvania was set on fire. Governor Josh Shapiro telling Savannah in December that political violence of any kind should not be tolerated.
Of course not.
We need to begin by saying that all leaders must condemn all political violence. Not cherry pick which violence to condemn and which violence to accept.
Yes, sir.
In Washington, Capitol Police are working in an increasingly politicized environment. They say they've made security improvements since the January 6th attack.
I think democracy, we should expect disagreement, right? But we should never settle for violence, and we've seen way too much violence lately.
Yeah.
Congress is not in session this week, so there were no members on campus, but next week is the State of the Union. The Capitol Police say this incident will not change their security posture leading up to the president's address to the nation. Hold up.
All right, Ryan Nobles for us there in D.C. Ryan, thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. We really appreciate it, folks. I mean, I hear a police siren outside of my window once again. Folks, we got another headline. Ocasio-Cortez has stumbled over a question over Taiwan defense. I mean, like, all right, here, I'll give a really quick answer right after her interviewer asks the question.
And should the U.S. actually commit U.S. troops to defend Taiwan if China were to move?
Absolutely not. It is not our situation. We have a sphere of influence. We've clearly proven it via our swoop in with Venezuela. And hopefully if they have a situation where the president of Taiwan is, not, executed publicly, as long as they're not doing things like that, which I doubt they will, quite frankly. They realize that they have to be more diplomatic about this, and actually Taiwan is more willing to go with this plan than a lot of people realize, because honestly, they just want some degree of independence. They want some degree of what they have, and they're willing to negotiate out some sort of Hong Kong deal with, the government of China. Honestly, it's not our war, it's not our situation. The moment that they have control over the South China Sea, it's something they've been eyeing for the longest time. Quite frankly, it's up to them what they're going to do with their sphere of influence. Whether or not I don't approve with the idea. If Taiwan wants to be uniquely independent, of course, I don't support the idea of them moving troops in. You know what I mean? I don't support the idea of China taking over a sovereign nation. But what are we to do about it? What are we personally to do about that?
I think that this is such a...
I'm sorry. I'm gonna let you hear her answer, like the amount of time she takes after the question is actually asked. I went ahead and I gave my diplomatic answer.
I think that this is such a I think that this is a this is of course a very long-standing policy of the United States.
Oh, that was rough. That didn't show very nicely, folks. I mean, it's not our war. As in, I'm not willing to send your children to go fight that war because it's not our land. We're not defending the homeland by any means. By them getting a little bit more, quite frankly, just expanding their sphere of influence a little bit more into the South China Sea. They've wanted this area for the longest time, and there's no way that we're going to stand in their way, honestly. Folks, before we end our, review of the headlines, we got one more, actually. We're going to do two more. Dave Chappelle visited the Alex Pretti Memorial in Minneapolis, folks. Oh, I love this goofball. Man, he didn't deserve to die, man. Man, he looks so sullen. He's walking around very uncomfortably. He doesn't look very, not to say that he should be comfortable, you know what I mean? I don't know. What are his jokes going to be like? He's in Minneapolis for a couple shows. He's in Minnesota for a few. Very fun. Very fun. I hope that he has a good time. I hope that the city, I hope the city treats him well in the sense where it's like, hey, stay away from his hotel. You know what I mean? I know you might think that ICE is there, but like he needs a good rest if he's going to be funny. You know what I mean? It's the truth. Folks, we have a clip to close out our rapid fire section of today's headlines. It is a throwback clip, actually. It is 9 years old, as in it's going to be 10 years old in May 4th, actually. In honor of Mother's Day, Savannah Guthrie welcomed her mother, Nancy, to the Today Show kitchen.
We're back at day 46, and this is a special Today food in honor of Mother's Day this Sunday. I am thrilled to welcome a very talented cook to our kitchen.
Oh, yes.
One I know well, my mom, Nancy Guthrie. She is here to share one of her famous dinners, fried chicken, spoon bread, Kentucky Wonders, or green beans, and red applesauce. Hi, Mom.
Hi.
You ready to
Hi.
cook?
I'm ready.
This is something I really remember you making during our growing up.
Oh, yes. But it's on a special occasion.
Because it takes time.
Oh, it takes all day.
Okay.
Oh, takes all day.
So this won't be one of those easy at-home recipes.
No.
Okay, tell me about what we have.
Not very healthy either.
Okay.
How long do you think it's going to take for them to find her? They said that it could take years or months.
Obviously, I didn't pay attention while she was making this.
Okay, basically what I like to do is take a piece of chicken.
Yeah.
This is not stirred quite enough, but just you kind of dip
Putting
it in
the
there,
egg.
and then in there, and then you dip it in here first, then in here, and then
You put the chicken in the egg, and then you put it in the flour.
in your bag.
Okay, so you really
And then you put your mom in a van.
This is that lovely brown.
You put that bag over your mom's head.
Yeah, and that's what you want. That's what you want.
Yeah.
So then you take your chicken. This grease is
Wait,
already.
let's back up a minute. Why do we shake it in the bag like
Well,
this?
it just gives it gets all over. See?
Gets all over, you see?
Well, it just gives it a little more flavor.
And then she dunks it in the oil.
Yeah.
You dunk your mom's hand in the oil to make her tell you where the jewels are hidden.
And
me see.
See how crispy it is?
It is. It looks delicious. So how long am I doing on each side?
Oh, okay. Well,
How long are we gonna fry a finger for each time?
Okay.
This is what she has to witness. This is what she's witnessing when she's being kidnapped by the Epstein. She's on Epstein Island right now. If you don't know, Nancy Guthrie's mom was kidnapped as revenge for Savannah Guthrie interviewing Virginia Giuffre. They did a very famous interview. Virginia Giuffre is one of the key survivors of Jeffrey Epstein. And as a result, Jeffrey Epstein in Tel Aviv right now said, you know what would be funny as fuck? Right around the time they release my files, kidnap her mom. That bitch who interviewed one of my victims, kidnap her mom, make her disappear, bring her to the island, stick her hand in some oil. You know what I mean? You know, obviously, I don't know whether or not her siblings, Annie or like Tomenko or whatever, maybe they'll be the fall guys. I have no idea. But we don't know where this case is going.
Kind of dreary day. Nancy, tell us a story about when Savannah got caught shoplifting.
No,
Oh.
my gosh, we are out of time.
Where did we hear that?
Yeah, where did she hear that? Did you say something?
No, not me.
Matt.
Oh, they're so awkward together. They're so awkward together. Oh, that was Matt Lauer who asked that question. I love, folks. We're gonna do our last story because we're just gonna have fun. You know what I mean? And whether or not it's fun is up to you. It's a Wednesday. We can have a good time. We don't really have to make it very serious. Let's go. Georgia teacher killed by a man fleeing ICE agents. Folks, if you didn't know, on Monday morning, a beloved special education teacher named Dr. Linda Davis was on her way to work at Herman W. Hess K-8 school. When her vehicle was struck by another car, authorities say that the crash happened after the 38-year-old Oscar Vasquez Lopez. Fuck. If you couldn't have a more spick name, man. I'm sorry. I can say that. I got it. I got the spick blood in me, so I can say it. A Guatemalan national in the U.S. illegally with a final deportation order from 2024. So he's been here for a minute. He probably should have, given the way that he's driving like one of those cartoons where they pull the 8-ball shift gear thing and their eyes are going out of their skull and they're fucking through the, it's like that scene in Beavis and Butthead when they're tripping out in the desert after they eat the cactus and they just like go in one of those MTV music videos. That's what this guy was seeing before he smashed into a special education teacher's Ford Focus, it looks like. I'm sorry. This is a really tragic situation. He apparently fled from an attempted traffic stop by federal immigration and customs enforcement officers. Davis was described by colleagues as someone who made the students feel like they mattered. She was pronounced dead at the hospital from her injuries. The crash occurred near the school on Whitefield Avenue, just a half a mile away. According to the Department of Homeland Security and local police, ICE agents tried to pull over Vasquez Lopez as a part of an enforcement operation. He initially stopped, but then sped away, making a reckless U-turn and running a red light before colliding with Davis's car. Security footage captured the high-speed pursuit moments just before the impact. Vasquez Lopez was injured but survived. Fuck. Can you imagine you kill somebody with your car when you're trying to flee immigration and you were like, fuck man, fucking shit. Man, I'm definitely get deported now. He's now in custody, facing charges including vehicular homicide, reckless. You could have just made it hey, I'm here illegally. You know, I overstayed. I fucked up. But really, some people can understand. Not everybody, but some people can understand that I just want to chase the American dream, man. I'm tired of eating. I'm tired of eating bullshit. I'm tired of being poor and shit. That's literally why my family moved up here. It's like we're tired of being poor and shit. We're tired of eating rice and drinking coffee and shit. It's like, seriously, we came here for opportunity and so did he. And I assume that he had only good intentions. But then he had to turn that understandable American story into one where he now is possibly facing vehicular homicide, reckless driving, and driving without a valid license. A judge has denied bond, good move on his part in his initial court appearance. ICE has emphasized that he had no prior criminal history beyond an immigration violation, but they highlighted the dangers of fleeing law enforcement. Obviously, I'm going to play the clip here. You can review it in the description. I'm going to leave it in the description, obviously, because, we leave everything in the description if you want to review for yourself. Warning, it looks like it's probably intense, quite frankly. It doesn't look calm, I'll give you that. Go. Police. Okay, so there's it looks like a major accident, honestly. Hold on. There's no sound.
She turned left, so
there we
she
go.
was right next to me. There's 2 lanes to turn right, and I was in the one that would have put me in the fast lane. So as her and I are both moving, she got hit on the driver's side. That would have been head on. So if she had not been there, she would have hit me, and then my 3-year-old toddler who sits right behind me. Baby wouldn't have made it.
Fuck, man. There's like, he is standing up from a gurney, it looks like, because they gave him medical treatment, obviously. Good, they wanted to save him. Oh, but that one car looks fucked up. The top is torn off, man. Fuck. Fuck, that looks bad. Okay, they're literally just scooping shit up. They're like they're brushing up the debris. They're taking there's like construction people taking pictures of the mangled wreck. This is absolutely horrific. This is awful. There's a guy in a nice little vest putting cones down. Yeah, guys, as though I've always laughed at that. I'm sorry, not to laughing at car accidents or tragic situations, but I've always laughed at the fact that people who like coordinate off car accidents think they need cones around the cars. Like, bro, we see the car. All right, they're towing them off. Oh, man, this is scary. All right, I'm going to play this clip that actually has a little bit of audio so that you can actually hear it.
36 hours after a public school teacher was killed by a vehicle being pursued by federal immigration agents, still many unanswered questions of the death of special education teacher Dr. Linda Davis.
Damn.
She was involved in a collision with a pickup truck driven by 30...
For a Davis, she looked like a Jackson, and that's a compliment, all right? The Jacksons, the Jackson 5, all them, they had great cheekbones. They just looked so beautiful.
8-year-old Oscar Vasquez Lopez. Agents from the Immigration and Customs Enforcement were after him in a high-speed chase on Whitfield Avenue.
Our team coverage begins with WJCL 22 News with Lydia Blackstone. Lydia, you talked to Lopez's wife tonight.
Yes, I did, Greg and Shannon. She was obviously very upset about this whole situation, but the community is as well. This is a protest happening right now as we speak in Forsyth Park. I would say about 200 plus people are out here demanding abolish ICE. That is what
Are you
they're
fucking
saying.
kidding me?
It's not necessarily saying that they're upset at the man that hit her, but blaming ICE instead. However, when I spoke to his wife, she says she's heartbroken by the whole situation.
Oh, for funny. Oh, for funny. People blaming ICE. People not blaming the person who ran from the police. People not blaming that fella. That fella, he had no criminal record except for vehicular manslaughter that he was going to commit that day. I'm sorry, I'm talking like a Native American. I don't know why.
He's a good person, loving, very affectionate, hardworking. Yesterday, he just went out to work, but what happened, happened. The blame is being put on him. The wife of Oscar Vasquez Lopez says she doesn't know what comes next for her husband, including whether he could be deported to Guatemala.
He should be, and by the way, they should get their finest prison ready for him. That's just my opinion.
Following a deadly crash near the entrance to Truman Parkway. DHS says he sped away from ICE agents after an initial traffic stop, but no details yet on what the specific traffic stop was for.
I want the type of prison where they shave their heads and they make them sit. You know, you've seen the videos where they make them sit in a row and they like have to like lean on their ankles or whatever, and then they have to sit in a it's literally a row where it's like forehead to back.
Video shows him speeding down Whitfield Avenue. Investigators say outside of the frame of this video, he ran a red light, made an illegal U-turn, and crashed into elementary school-age teacher Dr. Linda Davis, killing her. Both were taken to the hospital. The teacher, Dr. Davis, did not survive. Authorities say Vasquez Lopez suffered only minor injuries.
Bro.
Vasquez Lopez's wife told WJCL photojournalist Pedro Lopez and myself that she hasn't spoken to him since before the crash. I just want him to get a hold of me. I want to know what's going to happen to him. If they're going to...
I love listening to this because it gives me nostalgia. I'm sorry. I love ranting in borderline incomprehensible Spanish.
If he gets deported, what will you do? I'll leave too.
She'll leave too.
DHS
Good.
has no details.
Good. It sounds like you have no sympathy for the woman that he killed, so I want you out too.
On when Vasquez Lopez entered the country illegally, but that a federal immigration judge issued a final order for his removal from the country in 2024. His wife says the couple had been living in Savannah for about a month. Records show he previously lived in Bluffton. It's unknown at this time if the operation was targeted or just a random stop. We've pressed ICE officials to answer a host of questions that we've asked on the matter, but haven't heard back.
They're busy.
Local law enforcement says they did not know of any ICE operations in the area. Now, some in the local Hispanic community say they're feeling uncertain. He's a man who's really hardworking. Honorable, doesn't hurt anyone.
He's honorable. He's hardworking. He doesn't hurt anybody, man.
With anyone.
No problems.
He has no criminal record until yesterday because they were following him.
They fucking did it, man. They're the ones who did it, man.
Now he is still booked in the Chatham County Jail facing a host of charges which include vehicular homicide. The DA did confirm to us that he made an initial court appearance where he was denied bond, but crowds are still gathering out here to protest ICE. We'll have more details on the victim, Dr. Davis, coming up in just a few minutes.
Gosh, I'm gonna miss her voice. Folks, I mean, what else do you say except for the fact that there's real speed demons out there? I've known some of them. I've known many of them, actually. There's quite a few. You watch them. They go from literally like pulling out of a driveway to 60 miles an hour in a second, and it's like, damn, we're in a school zone. We're in a 30. Folks, the Savannah Chatham County school community is devastated. Obviously, I'm devastated for them. It's never fun to see. It's never fun to see the results of a real tragedy like this. How do I pull this episode out of the gutter? It's like this is such a sad story. Like, why would we end this way? Like, I don't want to do this to you guys to end your Wednesday. You know what? We're gonna play a video called "Hit the Rhode ICE." It is from a channel called NM Raging Granny, and from what I can tell, these women, they get together. They all look, let's put it politely, post menopausal. Is that a good way to phrase it? Yes, the crowd is like this is the 60, 70, 80, 90 even plus crowd. So we're going to review this footage, and it appears that the Santa Fe Raging Grannies, this is the description, are telling ICE and CBP, Central Border Patrol, to hit the road and never come back. This tune is Hit the Road Jack. If you like the song they're singing here, like the video. All right. Okay, first of all, I like how they get the one musically talented lady to play an instrument, and then the rest of them sit there with their arms crossed. The rest of them sit there like they're trying to give attitude. Some of them aren't even looking at the camera. Some of them are looking off. Some of them are not even focused on the idea that they're supposed to be singing. Some of them are looking at like, you know, the church that every old folks home has. They're looking at the chapel area, and because they see their husband saying, "It's gonna be tonight. We are reuniting tonight. Sing out your heart, sweetie, because it'll be the last thing you'll ever sing."
Hit the road, ICE, and don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, ICE.
Hit the road, ICE. When did this song originally come out? I would love to ask. Hit the Road Jack by Ray Charles. Fascist mercenaries roam our streets. All right, whatever. 1960. These women are relying on a song from 1960 for cultural relevance. I'm gonna like this video because I love you ladies, and I actually want every person who sees this to go and support these ladies a little bit. I'm gonna leave them in the description because Hit the Road ICE. I'm in love. This is awesome. Hunting down people as if they were meat. Their approach is to kill you twice. With bullets and again with lies. Hit the road, ICE. No more, no more, no more. Hit the road, ICE. Yeah. Folks, that's the grannies. And not the Grammys, the grannies. And I've been waiting to play that clip for so damn long, and I'm so glad I finally found an opportunity to use it. Folks, I'm tired of wasting your time. Go off and enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. I hope that you enjoyed today's episode as much as I enjoyed collecting the stories for you. Like if you liked it, subscribe if you want more. You hit the bell, because that's how you get the notifications, because we upload every fucking weekday. And then we take the weekend off because I like to give myself a break. But in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, until our next broadcast, I have been Ollie Vogt Larson with your Brain on Air. Thank you so very much for listening, and bye-bye.